Welcome back, and today we are going to see a sway frame problem. The analysis is quite involved. The analysis has to be done in two stages. That is, we have to do the moment distribution two times just to solve one problem. So you will do very well to stay focused, give your best attention so that in very first problem you will perfectly understand how a sway frame is to be analyzed. It's simple, it's nothing but superposition, but at the same time it is involved, it is lengthy. So here is our sway frame A, B, C, D. AB, BC, CD, each member is of 5 meters span. On BC beam, 16 kilonewton load is acting off center, 1 meters and 4 meters, and that is why it's a sway frame. Had the load been acting centrally at mid span, we would have analyzed this as a non-sway frame, but this is a sway frame. We are assuming that delta rightwards is the sway in the frame. Now, how to analyze sway frame using moment distribution method? What is the methodology? So naturally some of you may feel that we have already solved sinking of supports in case of continuous beams problems. What did we do then? We simply found fixed end moments due to loads, then fixed end moments due to sinking, and in the table in fixed end moments we had just added both the effects, that is due to loads and due to sinking of support. So some of you may naturally feel, what is the difference in sinking and sway? Why can't we do it like that? So I would like to point out the difference. When you are solving sinking of support problem, you are generally knowing amount of sink. It is given support so and so sinks by 2 millimeters, 10 millimeters, things like that. Whereas when we analyze a sway frame, the amount of sway is not known to us. We just don't know. We are just given the frame configuration, we are just given loading, and we just can guess that it is a sway frame, but we do not know what is the amount of sway. So that is why this methodology, that in initial fixed end movements, just add both the fixed end movements, one due to loads, one due to sinking or sway, is not possible. Eventually, as I run through this discussion, you will come to know, eventually we are going to do just that, but not the way we solve continuous beams easily. It is slightly more involved. Okay, so let's start. What do I imagine? This is my sway frame. I will imagine it to be a combination of a non-sway frame and another sway frame. What do I mean by that? Just observe, at C there is no support, and we are assuming that rightwards delta is the sway, is going to be the sway in our frame. What am I doing? I am imagining one restraint, one support at C point, and I am converting this frame into a non-sway frame. What is the purpose of this restraint? Because of this unsymmetric loading, if at all there is a tendency of swaying, there will be generated an opposing reaction R, and it will not allow any sway in the frame. This has become a non-sway frame, so I will analyze it as a non-sway frame. That will be one part of my total analysis. And then see the second part. If you observe carefully, this is my original problem, which is equivalent to this plus this. Means we are imagining that using this R, an arbitrary or an imaginary force, reaction, restraint, Using this R, we are first checking the sway, we are just stopping the sway, and then the same R I am applying equally and oppositely. You can readily see that if I compose these two diagrams, if I mix these two diagrams, these two R forces will cancel out each other. What remains will just be my original sway frame. So I repeat, our analysis is going to be a two-stage analysis. Original sway frame, I first restrain and convert into non-sway frame. That is, I provide this restraint which is offering reaction R to stop the sway. And then plus my second stage analysis will be for equally and oppositely applied R, so that when I compose, when I compile, when I mix these two analyses, I am going to get analysis of my original sway frame. Great. So right now we are here. We are imagining that we are solving the problem like this. Non-sway frame to begin with. Now for this frame, whatever parameter calculations is to be done, like fixed end moments, stiffness factors, distribution factors, all this I have not shown here because all this is completely repetitive and I do not have so much space to write on my board. Otherwise the problem would not get over in just one board. And as I said, we have done this n number of times. Fixed end moment for MF AB, MF BA will be 0, MF DC, MF CD will be 0, MF BC will be calculated as PA B squared upon L square, and MF CB will be calculated as P A square B upon L square. So those fixed end moments using P as 16 kilonewtons, small a as 1 meters, small b as 4 meters and total span as 5 meters, you can easily calculate. Other members do not have any fixed end moments. Similarly, stiffness factors 4EI by L, all the spans are 5 meters. All I, second moments of area are same. So you can readily calculate stiffness factors. Lastly, distribution factors. For AB, it is 0. For DC, it is 0. For BA and BC, it is going to be 0.5, 0.5. Why? Because the stiffness factor for BA and stiffness factor for BC are same. So it is going to be 1 upon 2, that is 0.5, 1 half. Similarly, distribution factor for CB and distribution factor for CD are going to be same, 1 half and 1 half. You pause my video, actually calculate fixed end moments, stiffness factors, distribution factors, you will just get the same values that I am discussing and that I am writing in my table. So do not please worry about this part that I am skipping this part. I am not skipping, just being repetitive. I am presuming that you know how to do this and I am going ahead quickly. So after finding fixed end moments and distribution factors, I start with step 1, restrained frame analysis by MD method. That is, this frame we are solving. First part of our total analysis. So I write joint member ABCD, AB, BA, BC, CB, CD, DC. Observe distribution factors 0, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0. Fixed end moments 0, 0, AB and BA. 10.24, negative 2.56, anti-clockwise and clockwise. You will get those answers. Just go for correct calculation. And again 0, 0, MFCD, MFDC. So those are my fixed end moments. Imbalance. There is imbalance of positive 10.24. So I apply negative 10.24. It gets distributed as 50% and 50% because my distribution factors are 0.5, 0.5. Similarly, Imbalance of negative 2.56. So I apply 2.56, gets distributed as 0.5 into 2.56 each 50%, that is 1.28, 1.28. Here I am writing 0, here I am writing 0. I think, I hope we have done this often enough and you are able to calculate, you are getting the same values. Carried over movements, half of this here, 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 half of this here. The frame design is such that our table is quite simple, no issues. Again, imbalance of 0.64, imbalance of minus 2.56, balancing movement into distribution factor, balancing movement into distribution factor, half carried over. Please do it actually. If I am going ahead too fast, and I do know that I am going ahead faster than my previous lecture because our focus is completely different. A very large, very lengthy analysis. So repetition I am avoiding. I do one cycle, I do two cycles, I do three cycles. You are very well aware of these cycles. Please do it on your own. If you are confident that yes, you can get these answers on your own, leave some space, leave some couple of lines blank and just copy these answers. Later on also, after my video is over, after my lecture is over, later on also you can just see whether you are getting close by answers or not. So cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, then I can again distribute the movements after the third cycle. And then I take a sum of these, I observe negative 5.78, positive 5.78, negative 2.72, positive 2.72. That means these two joints, or rather I should show here now, these two joints are balanced. So I stop my analysis, I take some here, I take some here. These are my end movements in this particular frame, non-sway frame, imaginary restrained frame, one part of my solution, one part of my analysis. Now, I have these end moments. Using these end moments, am I able to find this reaction? Yes, very certainly. And that is where fundamental principles of equilibrium will come into play. What am I doing? I am simply drawing FBD of column AB, FBD of column CD. Observe this FBD carefully, listen to me carefully because I have not written each and everything. So if you miss some discussion, then you are likely to feel confused. FBD of AB, M of AB is negative 2.88, so I have shown clockwise 2.88. M of BA, negative 5.78, so I have shown clockwise 5.7. Now, there should be end shears HA and HB. HB I have not shown because I do not require it in my calculation. Because I do not require it in my equation, sigma m about B equal to 0. Because even if I show HB here, its moment about B point is going to be 0. That way, I have not even shown BB, gravity load given by beam to this column. And I have not shown VA, the vertically upwards reaction given by foundation to this column. Because when I express sigma m about B equal to 0, all those forces, your HB, your VB, your VA, they are all passing through point B. They are not generating any movement about B. So just for the sake of brevity, I have drawn partial FBD, not complete FBD. M of BA, M of AB as found using our moment distribution method. And my focus is to find HA, end shear at column base, that is at A point. So that I have shown presumably rightwards because clearly you are observing that these two movements are clockwise. For balance, I need somebody who is creating anti-clockwise movement. So I am showing this as rightwards. And if I apply sigma m about b equal to 0, I will get the answer HA is equal to 1.732 kilonewtons. Please try yourself. I have written the equation, I have drawn the FBD, I have not written the steps, the substitution and calculations and all this. You can readily see sigma m about b equal to 0 will give me negative 2.88, negative 5.78 plus HA multiplied by 5 equal to 0, or 5 times HA equal to 0. Then 5 going on the right hand side in the denominator will give me the answer of 1.732 kilonewtons. I repeat, do not get confused. This HA is unknown to me as I draw the FBD. I know m of BA from MD table. I know m of AB from MD table. I am assuming HA to be rightwards. I do not know its value. So I apply sigma m about b equal to 0 and I find that answer as 1.732 kilonewtons rightwards that I have written here. That's all. Similarly, we draw FBD for column CD. This is m of CD 2.72 positive means anti-clockwise. This is m of DC 1.32 positive means anti-clockwise. So these two I have shown anti-clockwise. Since overall movement is anti-clockwise, when I apply sigma m about C equal to 0, I need some agency to create clockwise balancing movement. That's why I am assuming HD to be leftwards and it is unknown to me. I do not know how much is HD. I am just assuming it to be leftwards. I am guessing that it might be leftwards. I am not showing HC, VC, VD because they are all passing through C point. And then I am applying sigma m about C equal to 0. When I apply sigma m about C equal to 0, I am getting my HD as 0.81 kilonewtons. Easy enough. Do it, you will get it. And then for the entire frame, this frame, I apply sigma fx equal to 0 because what we have found our HA to be rightwards like this with magnitude 1.732 kilonewtons, our HD to be leftwards like this with magnitude 0.81 kilonewtons, and then there is R leftwards which is stopping that frame from undergoing sway of delta. So I want to find R. How will I find R? Simply by expressing sigma fx equal to 0 for the entire frame. So rightwards plus leftwards should be equal to 0. That readily gives me R is equal to 0.92 kilonewtons leftwards. So one part of the analysis is over. The problem is not yet over. We are solving now this second part. This reaction we found to be 0.92 kilonewtons, and so the same reaction, equal and opposite, I am showing here 0.92 kilonewtons. Does that mean we are nearing the solution? No. Indirectly, yes, but directly, no. Why not? Because we have to now consider the sway, which is, let us say, some amount delta, and we do not have any direct formula, any direct expression relating 0.92 kilonewton found value to this delta for the entire frame. We do have a few standard expressions for solo members, one column or one beam. But when it comes to a complete structure, and then you know how much is this force, and you want to find how much is delta, that is not directly possible, that can be done indirectly. So that is what I am saying, that we have found R, and this is going to help us indirectly to find our final moments, but not directly. So what do we do? Let us observe. Now I am writing step 2, that is sway analysis. I do know R, but I do not know the corresponding delta. So what am I imagining? I am imagining that for the same frame, let there exist some force R prime, some force R dash, which is different from R. Theoretically, for the same frame, let there exist some force R prime which induces a sway of delta prime, which is presumably different from delta. This R and this delta is one set, but I am saying let there exist some R prime which induces some delta prime in the same frame, and as a result, because of this sway, there are going to be moments generated, end moments, and that expression also we are aware of, 6 EI upon L square into delta prime. But again, since delta prime is unknown, since R prime is arbitrary, what we are imagining, MF AB is equal to MF BA is equal to MF DC is equal to MF CD. All these, let us say, are 10 kilonewton meter, some arbitrarily chosen value. So this is the fun, this is the thrilling part, this is the greatness of this method, that since I am not able to relate this R to this delta directly, later on I am going to use it, but not at present. So I imagine that let the end moments generated due to sway be 10 kilonewton meter each due to delta prime of sway due to R prime of the applied force. All these are my assumptions. But in these assumptions, certain things are absolutely accurate in the sense, if you look at the sway, the sense of these four moments are going to be anti-clockwise. Secondly, if you look at this expression 6 EI upon L square, for both these members AB as well as CD, E is same, I is same, even L is same. That is why we are assuming that all these four moments are 10 kilonewton meter. Suppose in a problem, this member is 2.5 meters long and this member is 5 meters long, I will not be able to assume all these moments they are having same magnitude. That is not possible. Then I will have to do a slightly more involved analysis, and we will see that analysis in my next problem. So coming back to, since all these are anti-clockwise, since E, I and L are same, we are assuming that their magnitude is same, and for the sake of moment distribution, I am choosing that magnitude to be 10 kilonewton meter. Now you may say, why 10, why not 100, why not 10,000, why not 1 million? See, the only thing is, if you look at these moments, they are in the range of 2.88, 5.78. If you look at the load, it is 16 kilonewton. So we are practically trying to remain in the same range. In our imagination also, we are choosing the same range. Otherwise, You may select 100, you may select 1000. Not that you are not going to get the answer, but the error, approximation error will grow, will become very large. So we are just playing in the same domain, same value range. So I am assuming that because of sway, the fixed end moments generated are 10 kilonewton meter each, and the corresponding delta is delta prime, corresponding applied force is R prime. Now what do? I start with moment distribution table again. You can readily see that my distribution factor is going to remain same, that is 0.5. I am solving the same frame, but of course my fixed end moment entries were here different. These were fixed end moments generated due to load, and these are arbitrary fixed end moments generated due to unknown sway. Arbitrary fixed end moment values generated due to unknown sway delta prime. So yes, I am writing 10, 10, 0, 0. See what we are assuming? We are assuming that only member AB and member CD is deforming, and member BC is simply translating rightwards. That is, there is no slope theta B or no slope theta C. See, this is superposition. Whatever slope we have to assume or consider, that has already been considered here, theta B and theta C. It is incorporated in this analysis. Rotation of joints. Now we are concerned with just translation of joints. So at a time we are only considering rotation and now only considering translation. That's why there is no theta B, theta C. Beam BC simply translates rightwards, and there is deformation in AB and CD columns only. And then I carry out my usual moment distribution analysis. Again, I don't spend a lot of time here because you can do it readily on your own. See what have I done? After writing the moments, observing imbalance at both the joints B and C, I go for distribution. Very happily, our distribution factors are 50%. So you are observing that half of this is here, half of this goes here, half of this is coming here, half goes here, half of this imbalance comes here. For me, for this problem, calculation is very simple. Not only that, since I start with a round figure 10, rather than writing 0.25, 0.625, 0.5, it is easy for me to write 5 by 2, 5 by 4, 5 by 16, 5 by 64, 5 by 32, things like that. It is easier, that's all. So great, what have I done? I have carried out moment distribution analysis for the sway frame, assuming that the moments generated are 10 kilonewton meter each, and then I have distributed those moments. I have done as usual 1, 2, 3 cycles. After that I have taken the summation. These are again distributed moments. I have distributed the moments after 3 cycles, and then I am taking summation of moments, and when I take sum of moments, I observe that there is a balance here, there is a balance here. So I assume that my moment distribution is over. And these are my end moments. So I hope you have understood this far, the discussion on the second part, and that is by assuming some arbitrary moments generated due to unknown sway. That value we are choosing as 10, and then we are just carrying out a moment distribution analysis, and we are getting balanced end moments like this. And now comes the moment of truth. Why? Because you must be wondering that this superposition is a reality. This 0.92 kilonewtons is a reality. This delta is a reality. And then suddenly, leaving the reality realm, we have gone into everything arbitrary and imaginary. This R bar is arbitrary. This delta prime is arbitrary. This 10 This is arbitrary. So all this is arbitrary. So how we are going to connect arbitrary things to the real things? So that is where the greatness of this superposition and greatness of this analysis comes. Now pay attention please to the very last part. As a next step, I am drawing FBD of member AB, FBD of member CD. End moments positive, positive, positive and positive I have shown here as anti-clockwise movements. End shears HA and HD whose values are not yet known to me. I have written these values after calculation. When you are solving, you are not knowing HA and HD. You have just shown, you have just guessed them to be leftwards. Why leftwards? Because since this total movement is anti-clockwise and I am taking sigma m about b equal to 0, for balance I need some clockwise movement. To generate that clockwise movement, I am assuming HA to be leftwards. So I show HA leftwards, I show HD also leftwards. So this is just analysis like we have done previously for our real case 1, and then I apply sigma m about b equal to 0, I get HA is equal to 2.796 kilonewtons. I apply sigma m about c equal to 0, I will obviously get again same value because both the FBDs in this case are identical, so I am getting again same answer. And then I am applying sigma fx equal to 0 to the entire frame. This frame, what we have just now found, that my HA is like this, that my HD is like this, and then I am trying to find R prime. So to this entire frame, I apply sigma fx equal to 0. This plus this must be equal to this, sigma fx 0. So that is giving me R prime is equal to 5.6 kilonewtons. And now, most happily, I arrive at the last part of the solution of MD analysis of a sway frame. And what is going to be my argument? We have found these end moments and we have found corresponding R prime to be 5.6 kilonewtons, whereas the actual R is 0.92 kilonewtons. So what is going to be my argument? I am going to say that if 5.6 kilonewtons generates these end moments, then 0.92 kilonewtons would generate how much end moment? A very simple calculation, a very simple arithmetic. For example, M of AB. So my argument is 5.6 kilonewtons of rightwards force generates 7.97 kilonewton meter of M of AB. Then 0.92 kilonewtons of rightward force will generate 0.92 upon 5.6 into 7.97 M of AB. A very simple linear extrapolation. A very simple linear calculation. So that is precisely what I have written here. Please observe what am I saying, M of AB. This plus sign is indication of superposition, nothing else. Just observe. I am saying M of AB is equal to negative 2.88. Where from this value is coming? Obviously this. That is non-sway analysis. What we have shown here, our moments are going to be non-sway moments plus sway moments. So the first term is minus 2.88 and observe second term, which is 0.92 upon 5.6 into 7.97. That 7.97 I am choosing from here. And the argument I have already discussed, that if 5.6 kilonewtons generates 7.97 of sway moment at AB, 0.92 kilonewtons will generate 0.92 upon 5.6 into 7.97 of M of AB due to sway. So, minus 2.88 non-sway moment plus 0.92 upon 5.6 into 7.97 sway moment, non-sway analysis plus sway analysis, this is giving me my final answer. Well, I have not calculated that final answer. That you can do. You can also generate BMD on your own. All this you can do very well now. But see that you have understood the gist of this method. Non-sway analysis, conventional. We already know non-sway frames, how to analysis. In sway analysis, though we do get this value, we can't go ahead with that value. We rather go ahead with an arbitrary sway moment value, carry out our moment distribution analysis, find end moments, find corresponding arbitrary value r prime, and then our argument is for r prime, if these are my end moments, then for r, how much will be the end moments? So it is going to be r upon r prime into each end moment. And you observe the remaining equations, you observe the remaining calculations, you will find that the quantities have just been picked up, substituted, and we are getting the answers. Once the logic is clear, we rely upon technique. For example, M of BA is equal to minus 5.78 plus 0.92 upon 5.6 into 6.01. Check. Next, M of BC plus 5.78 non-sway moment plus superposition 0.92 upon 5.6 into M of BC negative 6.01. Whatever is negative, I am substituting negative. So just observe this particular calculation. All the first terms are nothing but non-sway moments. All the bracketed terms are nothing but sway moments. And the factor here is 0.92 upon 5.6 is just the conversion factor from arbitrary case to real case. That's all. Great. So that is how simple this problem is, or I should say that is how interesting this problem is. Slightly involved, but once this logic is clear, once you practice a couple of problems, you will get a perfect grip of even sway frame analysis using moment distribution method. So please complete these calculations. Remember what I said. First terms are all non-sway moments. In second term, bracketed terms are all sway moments. And the factors 0.92 upon 5.6 every time repeated is just the connector, the converter of arbitrary case to real case. And the logic I already discussed. So in next lecture we will solve one more problem on this, so that moment distribution method will get over. Thank you very much.